On an early sunny day, the main character, Jack, gives flowers to his girlfriend, Junya, whom he has been dating for a month. However, Junya is not impressed by Jack's gift, and she coldly prepares to say something to him. Junya tells Jack that they are breaking up without much change in her expression. An expensive convertible with a richly dressed guy behind the wheel pulls up to Junya. The guy wishes Junya a happy birthday, taking off his sunglasses and apologizing for being late. Junya jumps into the arms of the newly arrived gentleman, saying that she was afraid that Jake would grab and tie her up, to which he invites her to an expensive restaurant and promises to buy her gifts. Hugging Junya close, the guy turns his gaze to Jake and says with an evil grin that relationships require a lot of money. As he turns and leaves, he adds that, judging by everything, Jake hardly seems worthy of this. As Jake's car drives away with his now ex-girlfriend, people start whispering behind his back, saying that he is the most notorious suck-up in school, and that he worked like crazy from morning until night to earn money for a gift for his girlfriend. Jake falls to his knees, indignant that his sincerity could be rejected in an instant simply because he is not rich. Jake asks why he spent so much time currying favor with his girlfriend if he got nothing in return. A mysterious voice sounds in the protagonist's head, informing him that he is registered in a system in which he has 2 cash accounts. Based on the data the voice told him, his personal budget is 138 ors, and the budget for some counterattack is $1 trillion. The voice explains that Jake can only spend the money from the counterattack account on any girl, and everything related to his personal calculations is paid from his personal account. The voice adds that 1% of the money spent on girls will be returned to his personal account, thereby inspiring him. Ready to spend huge sums on all sorts of nonsense, the protagonist stands up, holding a card in his hand, and says that the counterattack begins right now. Jake goes to the mall, thinking that he should find a girl first and try out this card. Jake finds Junia's classmate named Audrey, and a voice in his head tells him that a high-class girl has been found and gives him her details, saying that if Jake's infatuation level reaches 100%, he will need to find a new target. Jake approaches Audrey asking for a moment of her attention, and a voice in his head adds that Audrey's current level of infatuation with him is negative. Audrey suggests that Jake needs help with Junya again and advises him to give up, since she has already found herself a rich boyfriend. Jake says that Audrey is wrong, and he just wanted to offer her some tea, thinking about trying the card on her first. Audrey is perplexed, saying that she doesn't understand this proposal, considering that they don't even know Jake. After this, Audrey adds that the cafe where she is sitting serves a special tea that costs a lot of money, and she doubts that he can afford it. The line behind Jake is starting to get annoyed that he's been standing in one place for so long doing nothing. Jake approaches the saleswoman and asks how many glasses it will take to fill the entire line, to which she replies that it will take about 180 glasses. Jake announces that he is buying all 180 glasses at his own expense, claiming that Audrey will treat everyone, shocking the vendor with his unprecedented generosity. Audrey warns Jake that all this will cost several thousand yen and asks him not to act up, but Jake takes out his gold card and asks to pay him. Having paid a considerable sum, Jake asks that the guests be served tea as quickly as possible and not kept waiting. The crowd thanks Jake, very surprised by such generosity, actively expressing admiration for the protagonist's actions. Jake approaches a stunned Audrey, asking her to help him with a task. After some time, Jake and Audrey arrive at one of the richest shopping centers in the city. On the pedestal stands a very expensive luxury bag, attracting the eyes of buyers with its brilliant appearance. Next to her stands Junya and her new boyfriend, who says that he would like to buy her this bag, but his mother says that he spends money too carelessly, and they have already bought enough today. The guy suggests that they eat first and then discuss everything else, to which Junya agrees, but says to herself that without this bag, the whole set of gifts seems incomplete. Suddenly, Junya's attention is drawn to Audrey, calling Jake and walking with an expensive limited edition bag, asking if he would mind if she bought it. Jake looks closely at Audrey's bag while Junya asks in surprise what they are both doing there. Junya verbally attacks Jake, saying that he seems to be playing along with Audrey to make her jealous, and asks if he doesn't realize they broke up. Jake grimly replies that he doesn't care about Junya and is simply buying a bag for someone else. Junya is perplexed why a poor man like Jake would come to a premium store and doesn't believe a single word, while the voice in his head tells him Junya's details, just like it did with Audrey recently. Jake tells Junya that since they broke up, he doesn't have to explain anything and is free to go wherever he wants, adding that he is no longer the same as before. Junya laughs at him, not understanding how he managed to get out of poverty and become a millionaire in a few hours. And her boyfriend says that if Jake was really rich, he would have bought this bag a long time ago. Jake grins evilly, saying that he really can't afford that and will have to refuse, However, he immediately shocks those around him with a loud statement that buying one bag is not enough and calls a store consultant for help. In front of the amazed public, Jake confidently asks everyone to pack all the things in the store for him. Everyone watches in disbelief as Jake packs up all the goods in the store. The salespeople approach Jake, informing him that the total amount to be paid is 11,320,000 wen, and present him with a card payment machine. Junia's boyfriend laughs in disbelief, saying that if Jake buys all this, he will eat a portion of shit, while Junia herself says that Jake has gone crazy. However, the protagonist's magic gold card successfully pays for the purchase without any problems. The vendors thank Jake, and he turns to Junia and her boyfriend, saying that he didn't know he had such talent, and that he would be happy to see it. The unprecedented generosity shocks Audrey, causing her to become embarrassed and blush. Junia and her boyfriend are left in incredible shock, as are the other customers in the store, not believing what Jake just did. Audrey cuddles up to Jake, telling him that he is the best, and he replies that he is not like the others who pretend to have deep feelings, but in reality are not ready to spend a cent. Junia's boyfriend tells her that he knows much more than ordinary people, and that only complete fools who want to ruin their fortune would brag like that. He adds that, as a real rich kid, he needs to be discreet when attracting the attention of an old lady passing by. The old woman recognizes him, shouting his name, to which he turns around in surprise, not expecting to see her here. An old woman slaps a guy, accusing him of cheating, saying that it was she who bought him expensive clothes, a watch and a car, calling him a runt. The guy kneels before the old woman, saying that he was wrong, and it was all because of Junia, asking for forgiveness. The old woman says that she will not forgive him, but she can give him a chance if he gives Junia 2 slaps, otherwise they will break up right now. Without thinking twice, the guy gives Junia a hard slap, leaving a red mark on her face. From the force of the blow, Junia loses her balance and falls to the ground, looking in fear at her now ex-boyfriend. The young gigolo rips off her necklaces, saying that she is a selfish guy who steals other people's boyfriends, and that he bought her all the jewelry. Getting to her feet, Junia tries to hug Jake, pushing Audrey away, trying to tell him something. Jake, however, turns away and pushes Junia away from him, not wanting to listen to anything. Falling to the ground again, Junia looks sadly after Jake, unable to find words. Junia runs away, starting to cry, and a mysterious voice in Jake's head tells him that the level of her infatuation with the main character has only increased, causing him confusion. Audrey says that she didn't expect things to turn out so sadly, and that she feels very sorry for Junia, noting to herself, however, that Junia is a big bitch, and wondering if that will make things any easier for Jake. Jake says that Junia is selfish and doesn't deserve sympathy, and suggests that she forget her friend and see if she wants anything else for herself. Audrey is secretly glad that Junia is out of the game and says that she doesn't know how to respond to the protagonist's kindness. Jake suggests that they could become closer by increasing his level of infatuation with Audrey, to which she flirtatiously calls him a jerk. Audrey says that to avoid being rude, she will also spend money on Jake, surprising him with this arrangement. Jake asks Audrey if she would really spend money on him, to which she, smiling cheerfully, nudges him into the clothing store, directing him to the fitting room. After choosing some nicer clothes for Jake, she tells him that if he doesn't know how to dress properly, people will underestimate him. After choosing all the clothes Jake needs, Audrey goes to the checkout and pays for everything he chose. Jake emerges from the fitting room, transformed beyond recognition, attracting the attention of those around him with his new style. Audrey says to herself that she couldn't imagine how good Jake would look in normal clothes, saying that he is a real treasure, becoming more and more attracted to him. Jake looks in the mirror, amazed at how much more handsome he has become, and not understanding why Audrey spent money on him, even if it was small compared to his expenses. Evening comes and a contented Audrey returns to the girls' dormitory, humming romantic melodies. Entering the room, Audrey finds Junia sitting on a chair, drying her hair with a hairdryer. Audrey lets out a startled breath when she notices the bruise on Junia's face, asking if she's okay. Junia replies that she is fine, saying that thanks to Jake, she saw the real face of her ex-boyfriend. Otherwise, she would have continued to live in dreams. Audrey replies that she hopes Junia will be more selective with guys from now on, hiding behind her new handbag, asking Junia about it, to which she replies that Jake bought it for Audrey, so she should keep it. Audrey hugs Junia, saying that she was afraid that she would mind, to which Junia replies that since they are friends, she cannot mind. However, Junia is wondering to herself how Audrey dared to interfere in her relationship with Jake, and Audrey doesn't understand who prevented Junia from staying with him and not falling for the swindler. Jake returns to the boys' dorm, wearily wondering if he should spend more money on kissing up, or if perhaps he should change his method. On his way to his room, Jake meets his friends who are watching some girls stream and says hello to them. One of his friends, named Dismas, says that Jake's clothes are very expensive, while the rest of his friends suspect that he bought fakes to look rich. Dismas puts his arm around Jake's shoulder, saying that he heard about what happened today. In his opinion, Jake spent too much money on courting Junya, who still rejected him, and suggested that he donate to female streamers, who at least show more attention. Jake's friends say that no matter how much you spend on a streamer, she will still love everyone, and even an ordinary guy can afford it. Jake takes Dismas's advice to heart, saying that donating to streamers is the perfect plan. Jake smiles and places his hand on Dismas's shoulder, thanking him for his valuable advice. As Jake leaves, his friends say they are surprised that Jake thanked them for the advice, even though they were making fun of them. After entering his room and relaxing on his bed, Jake logs into the Leopard's Fang app. Jake decides to register under the nickname Beggar and decides to watch the broadcast for the first time. Jake remembers that the guys mentioned the name of the streamer Chai Chai and enters it into the search bar. Following the link to Chai Chai, Jake is taken to a stream of a skimpy dancing girl who is the subject of numerous loving comments. Jake finds the streamer attractive and wonders if he can launch a counterattack on the person on the other side of the screen. A voice in my head says that appearance must be above 80 points, otherwise the counterattack will not be possible. But streamers often use filters, so determining their appearance will be problematic. Jake says it's a well-thought-out system, but he thinks Chai Chai's looks are over 90 even without the filters, so it doesn't bother him. Meanwhile, a top donor named Reynold joins Chai Chai's stream and gives the streamer 5 golden leopards, which is equivalent to 10,000 yuan, earning Chai Chai enthusiastic reactions and gratitude. In the chat, Reynold announces that a competition between streamers Chai Chai and Pun Pun will soon begin, and asks if everyone is ready, to which Jake asks Chai Chai how to send her a gift and how much money she needs to transfer to become top 1. Reynold is embittered by such impudence and asks Chai Chai to ban the new user. Chai Chai thinks that she can only win this competition thanks to Reynold, and the newcomer will most likely not send her a single gift, so she asks the moderator to kick Jake out. Jake is immediately banned and stares at the screen in surprise, not believing what's happening. However, without thinking twice, he decides that if he was banned from the Chai Chai stream, he will go watch Pun Pun. The competition begins, and Chai Chai tells Pun Pun that he is worried about her, because she does not have a single top donor, and offers her to give up right away in exchange for a more lenient punishment. Pun Pun, dressed as a cat, says that she has plenty of good donors, so instead of chatting, it's better to start the competition as soon as possible. The competition begins, and the participants begin performing various actions that their donors ask them to do. The competition continues, and streamer Pun Pun is lagging far behind in the number of donations. Chai Chai's spectators irritably egg Pun Pun on, ordering her to keep dancing and not to waste time on nonsense. Suddenly, Pun Pun receives the most precious gift in the form of a golden dragon. Reynold rises from his chair in shock, surprised that someone would shell out for such an expensive gift, equivalent in monetary terms to 15,000 yuan. Streamer Pun Pun thanks user Beggar by leaning forward and making a heart sign. Shocked by what's happening, streamer Chai Chai realizes that this beggar is most likely the same user they just banned. Jake finally figured out how to connect the card to streaming services and found the most expensive gift. Jake continues to send out golden dragons, surprising viewers and streamers alike, quickly closing the gap between Pun Pun and Chai Chai. Streamer Pun Pun tries to warn Jake that the first round is about to end, and since sending dragons is expensive, he should wait until the next round. Reynold realizes that this is most likely the same newbie they recently kicked out and gloats about how Jake, in his opinion, does not understand the rules and spent all his savings on the losing round. However, Jake continues to pelt Pun Pun with golden dragons, sending them flying by the hundreds. All the viewers of the stream, including Jake's friends, cannot believe what happened, looking at their screens in shock. Chai Chai, realizing that victory is slipping from her hands, her face changes and she looks sadly at the counter. Jake buys more and more golden dragons, the counter of which already exceeds 1,500, increasing the Pun Pun donation counter beyond all reach. Reynold, horrified, counts the number of dragons sent, recalling that during his year of watching, Chai Chai sent her a total of 3 million yuan. Chai Chai counts the total number of gifts, realizing that Pun Pun's account has just been replenished by 24 million yuan. Pun Pun puts on cat gloves and jumps in place, thanking Jake for the golden dragons. After this, Pun Pun turns to Chai Chai, telling her not to sit idly by and to move on to her punishment. Chai Chai begins to fulfill Pun Pun's requests to the accompaniment of boos from his followers. While completing Pun Pun's next task, Chai Chai admits to herself that she is very angry at Reynold, because if it weren't for him, these 1600 golden dragons would be hers. To everyone's adoration, Jake writes that Chai Chai either bans Reynald or he leaves himself, after which Reynald leaves the chat. Pun Pun accepts congratulations and rejoices at the victory, once again thanking Jake for his help. Jake receives a lot of messages on his account, among which he notices an apology from streamer Chai Chai. Chai Chai writes to the main character that she saw that he lives in the city where she is going the day after tomorrow for a photo shoot, and asks if they can meet somewhere. Jake decides that the fish caught in his net will be excellent compensation for his work, and answers Chai Chai that a meeting is possible. Chai Chai is happy that the meeting has been scheduled and kisses the phone with happiness, replying that he is really looking forward to the meeting. The next day, Jake wakes up in a great mood, noting to himself that he has never slept so well. Jake's friends get dressed to go out, inviting Jake to go have breakfast with them. Jake refuses them, telling them to go without him because his girlfriend will bring him breakfast. Jake's friends are worried about him, thinking that something is wrong with him, because he chased after the only girl for 3 years, and yesterday he was so calm after a breakup. Students are standing at the entrance to the women's dormitory, discussing that everyone has come to give breakfast to Junya and Audrey. Dismas approaches a group of students, saying that they are no different from heels, and being like Jake is not the answer. When asked aptly what he brought in the box, he replies that it is sweet milky French macarons, costing 600 yuan each, adding that courting a girl requires real money. Waking up, Audrey and Junya are walking down the stairs, talking about something. Students meet girls, showering them with gifts, trying to please them with their courtship. Audrey coldly accepts the sweet macarons from class president Dismas, dryly thanking him for the gift. Turning around, Dismas notices Jake and his friends and roommates walking by. Dismas calls out to Jake from the crowd, drawing his attention to himself. He asks him if Jake brought breakfast for Junya, although he probably won't need it since she dumped him. According to Dismas, since Junya had already ordered delivery today, Jake had no chance, and he should come early tomorrow. Audrey approaches Jake, asking if he had breakfast, to which Jake replied that since she offered to have breakfast with him, he skipped breakfast. Jake's friends can't believe that Jake's new girlfriend is Audrey and express their surprise out loud. Dismas and his friends are very surprised by what they hear and fall into a stupor. A courier comes to Junya and gives her a bag of food, saying that her delivery has arrived. Audrey says she brought him some milk macaroni, and a voice in Jake's head says his crush level has gone up 7%. Jake is delighted with the pasta, surprised that Audrey made him breakfast and her affection continues to grow. Junya approaches Audrey and Jake, saying she bought him a natural breakfast for 368 yuan. Junya tries to win Jake's favor by saying that he has done a lot for her over the past 3 years and that she is very touched and will now always take care of him. Jake is unimpressed by Junya's apparent concern and realizes that as soon as he starts to fawn over her again, she will start to shy away from him. Jake turns away from Junya, saying that she doesn't need to cuddle up to him since there are a lot of her other fans around. A voice in Jake's head tells him that the level of infatuation between both girls has increased, while each of the girls thinks that Jake's actions are motivated by love for her. Jake is perplexed by this turn of events and tries to understand why the level of their infatuation is constantly growing. The students sincerely do not understand why Junya and Audrey are fighting over Jake, despite the fact that they are best friends. Junya and Audrey surround Jake, each trying to persuade him to eat her breakfast. Junya sits Jake down on a bench and feeds him breakfast while Audrey looks on indignantly. Dismas doesn't believe that Audrey and Junya can fight for a man, especially a man like Jake, and he wonders how he managed to do it. Jake gives Dismas the middle finger, saying that yesterday that finger tapped the screen over 1,600 times, but now there are those who will take care of it. The girls continue to hover around Jake, looking at his bruised finger. Audrey hands Jake some pasta, telling him it's delicious and inviting him to try it. Dismas and his gang continue to be upset that Audrey is feeding Jake his pasta. The main character says that the pasta tastes good, but he doesn't like the red ones. Audrey looks at the macarons and corrects Jake, telling him that macarons are actually pink. Junya gets angry, telling Jake to eat his breakfast and not look at Audrey. Audrey stands up, whispering something inappropriate in Jake's ear, causing him to blush. Dismas can't stand the heat of the moment and his nose starts bleeding. Jake's friends are reading the news feed on social media and saying that Jake is now in the news and they want to interview him. Jake, not wanting any more attention, runs away, leaving his friends alone. Audrey and Junya blame each other for Jake leaving, saying that Junya is a gossip and that Audrey provoked Jake with her lewd behavior. Jake is hiding from the reporters, hoping they won't follow him, when suddenly his phone rings. Streamer Chai Chai writes to Jake, saying that she is arriving in the city at 7 p.m. and asking him to meet her. Jake is delighted at the new opportunity to spend money and is looking forward to meeting Chai Chai. That evening at the airport, Jake looks around for the streamer, suspecting that she turned on the filters and turned out to be an old woman in real life whom he doesn't recognize. Suddenly, he hears one of the fans grab the streamer Chai Chai by the hand, offering to walk her home and give her a ride. Seeing the girl struggling, Jake realizes that this is the same streamer. Jake stands up for Chai Chai, telling the fan to get his eyes checked, because the expression on her face shows that she doesn't want to go with him. Chai Chai recognizes Jake, saying that his clothes are the same as in the description of the social network on which they corresponded. Chai Chai thanks Jake for his help, saying that if he hadn't arrived in time, the fan would have kidnapped her. Chai Chai says that she didn't expect Jake to be young and handsome, because she imagined that such a rich man would be much older and uglier. A mysterious voice in the hero's head says that the counterattack mode against Chai Chai has begun, showing her enthusiasm level at 30%. A well-dressed rich man appears in the crowd, waving Chai Chai and calling out names. Chai Chai recognizes the man, calling him by his name Damien, asking how he ended up there. Chai Chai introduces Jake by naming his nickname on the platform, saying that this is the same rich man with the nickname Beggar. Damien is surprised that the famous rich man is so young and asks Jake what he drives. Jake says he drives a small scooter instead of a car, stunning Chai Chai. Damien offers Chai Chai and Jake a ride, packing his scooter onto the roof of his expensive car. As he drives, Damien reflects on the fact that Jake looks no older than 20 and wears fairly inexpensive clothes. Chai Chai also doubts Jake's wealth, wondering if this man is really that rich. Damien's car stops near an expensive hotel. Chai Chai opens the door and greets everyone, blinding everyone with a bright smile. Chai Chai's guests greet her, saying that she has become even more beautiful since her last public appearance. Jake guesses that all these apologies and invitations to the bar were a way to gather all the top donors in one place. Jake notes that as a famous leopard's tooth streamer, Chai Chai is obviously very intelligent. The guests sit down at the table and discuss business, while one of the donors asks if Jake really came to meet them. One of the men says that if Jake had enough money for 2,000 gifts, then his income is clearly at least 10 billion. The man moves closer to Jake, saying that he knows a lot of people in the city. However, as he notes, he has never seen Jake or his parents on the lists of the richest people in this city. The guests begin to suspect Jake of pretending, saying that he probably deceived Chai Chai. According to the mysterious voice in Jake's head, not responding causes his level of attraction to TT to drop by 10%. Chai Chai remembers that she looked at his phone on the way, so she has no doubt that Jake is who he says he is, which means he is most likely still taking revenge on her. Chai Chai places her hand on Jake's thigh, saying that according to her rumors, Jake's family is one of the 3 richest families in the capital. Jake replies that he doesn't know the people Chai Chai is talking about, but he clearly has more money than they do. The guests at Chai Chai don't believe Jake, saying that if he has more money than the family they mistakenly thought was Jake's family, then he probably has a couple of cars hidden away and isn't showing them. Jake puts his arm around Chai Chai, holding her close, saying that he doesn't have a single car. Jake asks Chai Chai which car she likes the most because he can buy her anyone right now. The guests are indignant at Jake's frivolous use of his hands, and tell him that he is a show-off in all his glory. Chai Chai sweetly responds to Jake, saying that she really likes the Ferrari FA60, but according to the voice in Jake's head, her level of infatuation has dropped again by 15%. Jake understands that she is only happy on the outside, but disappointed on the inside, and this performance will drive him crazy. Jake says he understands, gets up from the table and leaves. Half an hour later, Chai Chai and his fans come out into the street, assuming that Jake must have chickened out and is disappointed to think that he turned out to be a liar. Suddenly, the bright light of headlights and the roar of engines blind everyone, and the guests, along with Chai Chai, cover their eyes with their hands, not understanding what is happening. It turns out that Jake has driven a huge pile of luxury supercars of various brands to the hotel. Jake apologizes for blocking the guests' cars, explaining that Walter, the owner of the auto repair shop, brought in all the cars he had chosen at once, and Walter, in turn, says that Jake's identity is confirmed by a special diamond card. Guests can't believe their eyes, saying that to receive a black diamond card, the owner's net worth must be at least 1 billion. Jake says the car Chai Chai wanted cost 15 million yuan, which is too cheap for him. According to Jake, Walter said that Chai Chai would like the LF model, so he decided to take the initiative and buy her the car. Walter tells Jake that the car costs 32 million yuan, and without further ado, he swipes his card at the cash register to pay for it. Chai Chai blushes, surprised that Jake actually bought her a car for more than 30 million yuan. All the guests stand rooted to the spot, saying with heaviness that they were wrong to just make fun of Jake. While Chai Chai is looking at the new car, Jake talks to Walter, saying that he wants to buy a more expensive car than the most expensive one in his showroom. Full of gratitude, Chai Chai tells Jake that she has always dreamed of driving this model of Ferrari. Jake replies that he has so much money anyway that he needs to spend it somewhere. Chai is impressed that Jake didn't take advantage of the situation or demand anything in return, and a voice in his head tells him that her level of attraction has increased by 50%. The guests apologize to Jake, saying that they were wrong to doubt his power, and one of them says that he has the largest fleet of cars in the city at his disposal, and if Jake wants to buy one of them, he will be given a big discount. Chai approaches Jake, says he wants to try out the car, and asks him to join him. Chai hints in Jake's ear that she thanks him for big gifts, and since his gift is too big, she will thank him several times when they are alone. Jake thinks to himself that now he understands why she makes so much money from streaming, and now she has piqued his curiosity. Having got into the car, Chai presses the pedal to the floor, and with a loud roar the car takes off and drives off into the horizon. Chai gives Jake a marker, asking him to sign it on her thigh. Jake lifts up Chai's skirt, which has an apology written on it. Chai says that this is one of her thanks, and every time she thanks him he can leave a mark on her thigh. Chai turns on the stream, saying that unexpectedly for her, Jake bought her a car without further ado, and she's very touched by this. While Chai is chatting with his followers, the owner of the car park talks to Jake, saying that there is a club of rich people in the city who really want to meet him. After accepting the invitation, Jake receives a call on his phone and is informed that students from his school have organized a reunion, and he is invited there. Jake is also informed that a beautiful girl from the literature class named Astrid will be coming to the party, and Jake says that he will definitely come. Jake arrives at the appointed place on his scooter, looking around carefully, saying that the 5-star bar looks very rich. Jake is called out by his classmates, whom he asks about parking, to which they reply that they came on foot. Suddenly, Jake's scooter starts to skid and breaks down completely. Jake remembers that yesterday Damien asked Jake for his scooter so he could go for a ride somewhere. Jake says that Damien was probably the one who broke it, and that he should be asked to pay for the damage. Suddenly, an expensive convertible with one of his classmates driving pulls up to Jake. A classmate named Fox asks Jake what happened to his car. Fox laughs, saying that when he chose the meeting location, he didn't expect anyone to show up on a scooter. Fox tosses the doorman his car keys, asking him to park his car, to which the surprised classmate says that a parking space here would cost several million, but he is told that Fox owns this bar called Meriden, where the meeting is being held. Jake says he'll find somewhere to park while the others go explore Meriden. While Jake is driving his broken scooter, his phone starts ringing. It turned out that Audrey was calling him, asking where he was and offering to go somewhere together. Jake tells Audrey that today won't work because he's at a class reunion, to which Audrey replies that she can tomorrow, but won't be able to in a couple of days. Jake silently assumes that Audrey is starting her period in a couple of days and won't be able to go on a date, so he tells her to drink warm water, slightly increasing her enthusiasm. A voice in his head tells Jake that Audrey's infatuation level has reached 91%, and that counterattack level 1 has been passed, meaning that 10% of the money spent on her has been credited to his personal account. In addition, the voice informs Jake that all of his stats have been increased by 1 level, and several skills have become available to him. Jake gains the ability to appreciate cultural heritage, use 5 electric whips, and rap, which leaves him somewhat disappointed due to the lack of practicality of these skills. Jake returns to Meriden, thinking that it's time to buy himself a car, but unfortunately, he can't spend the counterattack budget on himself. When Jake arrives at his classmate's room, there are only 2 seats left empty. Jake asks if Astrid has arrived yet, to which Fox haughtily asks why it matters to him, since she is a literature student from a difficult family. Jake wonders if Astrid's family is very rich, to which his classmate remarks that her family is very intelligent and does not talk about their wealth. Fox says that Astrid's family opened a museum in the city, so Jake and her are on completely different levels, because only Fox has enough money to look after her. At the same time, the door of the room opens and Astrid enters the room, apologizing for being late, saying that she was stuck in traffic. According to the voice in his head, Astrid's appearance rating is 94, which pleasantly surprises Jake. Fox invites Astrid to sit next to him, but the only free seat left is next to Jake, who also tells her that she can sit next to him. Astrid accepts his offer and sits down next to him, saying that she hasn't seen Jake for a long time. Jake is surprised, saying that he thought she had already forgotten his name, to which Astrid replies that she remembers the names of everyone in her class. His classmates are surprised to see Astrid sitting with Jake, while a mysterious voice in his head shows him Astrid's characteristics. However, the conditions are now changed, and if the degree of infatuation with Jake reaches 100%, the card will no longer belong to him. Fox is annoyed that Astrid did not accept his offer and curses Jake for his insolence. He gleefully asks Jake why he didn't bring the girl he'd been dating for 3 years to the meeting. Jake responds to Fox by saying that he broke up with his girlfriend the day before yesterday, to which they yell that he is only saying this because he needs Astrid. Jake's classmates continue to press him, saying they didn't expect him to become such a jerk after college, despite his insistence that he's not lying. The senseless buffoonery about himself causes Astrid's level of infatuation to drop by 1%. Jake is surprised by this, trying to figure out what to do in this situation. Fox decides to try his luck again and approaches Astrid, telling her that he recently bought a late Maria by Da Vinci from a collector in Shanghai. Astrid turns to look at the painting behind her, and Fox invites her to take a closer look. Astrid walks over to the painting to get a better look, and Fox walks around the table, stopping next to Jake. Fox puts his hand on his shoulder and whispers to him to know his place, calling him a beggar and threatening that if he tries to suck up to Astrid again, he will destroy his entire career. Fox begins to tell Astrid how much he loves the painting and that there will be an auction in town in a few days where another similar painting will be sold. Astrid is surprised, saying that she didn't know Fox was interested in Renaissance artists, to which Fox meanwhile privately states that, although he spent a lot of time studying her interests, he doesn't find them interesting at all. Jake rises from his seat and says that he is also very interested in Da Vinci's paintings. Smiling, he says that they can certainly look at the painting together, while a voice in his head activates the artifact appraisal skill. Fox agrees to Jake's proposal, thinking to himself that this fool is about to embarrass himself. While Jake is looking at the painting, Fox asks him to share his opinion about this painting. Without thinking twice, Jake concludes that this painting is nothing more than a fake. He explains that in his later works, Da Vinci favored the technique of thin overpainting, with each brushstroke having a translucent effect, and he also liked to shade the corners of the eyes and mouth. Astrid listens attentively to Jake's analytical reasoning, her mouth slightly open in surprise. After finishing his analysis, Jake says that unfortunately, Fox bought a fake. Fox, gritting his teeth, says that a non-professional might have believed his words, but he immediately saw that he had picked up some half-bad expert skills on the internet. However, Astrid stands up for Jake, saying that she has studied Da Vinci's paintings and agrees with the conclusions expressed. Fox and his other classmates can't believe what's happening and stand frozen in amazement. Astrid turns to Jake, wondering where he got such expert knowledge. Jake replies that he has been trained since childhood to appreciate cultural relics and art objects, because his goal is to buy all of China's cultural artifacts and return them to their homeland. Fox laughs, saying that he almost believed Jake's bravado about being able to buy back all the valuable artifacts, to which the protagonist says that as long as he has a certain amount of money, there is nothing that he cannot buy. Everyone bursts out laughing, saying they don't believe his schoolboy boasts about his wealth. Astrid dryly notes that she had the same unrealistic dreams as a child, but the degree of her passion increases by 5%. Jake confidently replies that the statement about a dream is too far-fetched, and it is simply a goal that he will definitely achieve. Astrid sits down in the same seat next to Jake, making Fox angry at him. Fox gradually becomes enraged, thinking to himself that he needs to show the poor man his rightful place for his attempt to steal Astrid from him. It's time for lunch, and the guests are amazed at how delicious and different each of their meals are. Fox replies that his chef decides what to serve because he used to work in a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and so the dish depends on his mood when he cooks it. Looking at Jake's dish, Fox grins that, unfortunately, he was out of luck. Fox laughs at Jake, asking how he liked the chef's steamed buns, adding that if he doesn't like it, the dish can be replaced, but it will take several hours. Jake doesn't really notice Fox and his cheap taunts and continues to communicate with Astrid, continuing to irritate him. Jake shares more of the art knowledge he's downloaded into his head, further increasing Astrid's infatuation. Suddenly, Jake's phone starts buzzing, and he receives a message that Damien is inviting him to the Princely Millions chat. After entering the chat, Jake decides to spend some money and finds a chat user named Smiling Marie, sending her 18 million yen. One of the chat users says that his name is Fox, and he is the young owner of the Meriden bar, and invites him to his bar, saying that he will pay for everything he orders there. Jake notes to himself that this is an incredibly wonderful coincidence and agrees, to which the other chat participants say that they will also come to Meriden. Fox is happy that he has made another rich and influential friend, and when everyone arrives, he will easily get rid of Jake. According to his plan, all that would need to be done would be to complain about him in the presence of influential rich people and his new powerful friend. In his dreams, everyone will immediately take his side and throw Jake out of town, preventing him from working anywhere. Fox gets up from the table, inviting everyone to the karaoke room, saying that he has arranged a meeting with the rich people, so that everyone will have the opportunity to mingle with high-class people. After some time, the first rich people begin to arrive at the karaoke hall for the meeting, talking with Fox. Fox introduces Astrid to Mr. Shu, who is the main property owner in the city, to which he says that he knew her father. Astrid greets her politely, and Mr. Shu says that he heard that Mrs. Astrid is unusually beautiful, and this turned out to be the absolute truth. During the conversation, one of the bartenders approaches Fox, asking for a minute of his time. According to the bartender, Jake would like to order a bottle of Aurora Russo sherry wine, and he is not sure whether he should open it for him. Fox is surprised out loud, asking Jake if he really wants to order that bottle. Jake's classmates warn him that the wine costs thousands of dollars, and he clearly doesn't know how expensive it is. However, Jake, without a shadow of a doubt, replies that he really does want to order it, saying that one of his rich friends will pay for it. Fox is happy, thinking that this is his chance, saying that if Jake really does have a rich friend, then he can open the bottle. Fox opens the bottle, telling Jake that one of them costs $250,000, and if his friend cannot pay, then the main character will have to mine coal to pay off the debts. Jake says he doesn't really know much about wine, noting to himself that he thought the price was directly related to the length of the name. Fox responds to Jake by saying that he will be more careful when his hands are dirty, and then he will think more before buying something. Fox glances around the karaoke room, saying that everyone is almost there, but his new acquaintance, nicknamed Rich Man, is still nowhere to be seen, despite the fact that he reported that he was in Meriden. One of the guests reports that Bogach wrote in the chat that he was already in the karaoke room, while the door opens and the last guest enters the room. The final guest is the owner of the largest car park in the city from a recent meeting with Chai Chai named Matt. Matt runs past Fox without even saying hello. Matt greets Jake, apologizing for being late and declaring that he will drink 3 glasses to him. Everyone in the room is frozen in amazement, trying to comprehend what they have seen, while Fox cannot even turn around from shock. After a short pause, everyone except Matt and Astrid, who is not very interested in what is happening, shout out Jake's nickname, not believing their eyes. Fox turns his head towards Jake with difficulty, his mouth hanging open in surprise, saying that this is impossible. Jake, smiling slightly, replies that it is certainly possible, and it really is him. Jake is surrounded by rich people, admiring him for being so young and rich, asking if he has a girlfriend. Jake's classmates are baffled by the fact that he is so rich that a bunch of tycoons are sucking up to him. Fox screams that this is all some kind of deception, because he knows Jake's parents, and they are simple workers, and he is an ordinary poor dog. Matt scolds Fox, telling him to shut his mouth immediately and that he is the worst of the whole group. Matt reminds Fox that he is the same uneducated and incompetent member of their club who spends nothing but the hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that his parents give him. Matt also adds that he lost money on stocks without making a penny, which is a disgrace to their group. Matt concludes his speech by not understanding how Fox can even laugh at swearing at Mr. Rich. Everyone decides that the only way out and punishment will be Fox's exclusion from the Princely Millions Club. However, Jake saves the situation by saying that nothing terrible happened, and besides, Mr. Fox said that he will pay all his expenses for today, and asks to serve the most expensive drinks. Jake adds that guests can order anything they want, and everything will be free for them, making them happy. After some time, evening comes, and Mrs. Astrid's car drives up to Meriden. Astrid says goodbye to everyone, saying that she is going home. Jake and his classmates watch her go, commenting on how, despite being very rich, Astrid doesn't flaunt it. Jake thinks about her, thinking that she is a real lady who has been part of high society since childhood, and was not at all surprised by Jake's wealth, not even increasing her degree of infatuation. In Jake's opinion, she is the perfect object for spending his money. Matt approaches Jake and tells him he has found him an $80 million car. Matt adds that there are only 10 such cars in the world, and they are not even in China, to which Jake replies that he likes the car and is buying it. Matt says he'll take care of it, and in a few days the car will be here and running off to do its business. Jake checks his personal account balance, finding that it only has 1 million yuan, thinking that it would be better to spend a lot of money on the next counterattacks. Late in the evening, Jake returns home, notices Junya sitting on the street, and asks her what she is doing there. Junya looks very scared and upset, happy that Jake is finally back. Junya says her father had a heart attack and is in the hospital, adding that the operation costs 800,000 yuan, which is an unaffordable amount for her family. Jake doesn't believe Junya, saying that after 3 years he already knows all her excuses, and she will probably spend those 800,000 on something, so he won't give her a penny. Junya hysterically reproaches Jake for spending more than $10 million on Audrey, but now he cannot lend her 800,000, to which he says that she cannot tell him what and who to spend his own money on. Junya continues to reproach Jake, telling him that they broke up less than a week ago, to which he replies that thanks to that, he started having a normal life, and he does not want to ruin his mood by talking to her. Junya says that Jake can't do this to her, and a voice in Jake's head tells him that her crush level has dropped by 20%. Jake reflects that despite his hopes, she hasn't changed a bit, and he still doesn't intend to spend any more money on her. The next morning, Jake walks near his university and reads his messages, learning that Chai Chai invited him to dinner. Logging onto the streaming platform, he contacts an assistant, receives a notification that Chai Chai is broadcasting, and an offer to make an exclusive gift to order. Jake likes the idea and decides to think about what gift he wants to give. When Jake joins Chai Chai's stream, a notification appears in the chat, and Chai Chai greets him along with the rest of the viewers. Jake gives Chai Chai a gift from the God of Luck, which is custom made to his order and costs $880,000. Jake continues to shower Chai Chai with money, buying dozens of these gifts. Jake only stops when he gives Chai Chai a total of 300 million yuan, raising her infatuation level by another 20%. Embarrassed, Chai Chai says he will do whatever Jake wants, but he leaves the broadcast without asking for anything. Chai Chai doesn't understand why this happened, and stands motionless for a moment in surprise. Jake is happy to know that 10% of the 300 million spent on Chai Chai has been transferred to his account. Meanwhile, Chai Chai is tormented by the thought that Jake did not ask for anything in return, and makes a bold guess that Jake might be in love with her. Chai Chai pushes these thoughts aside and tells herself that men are unreliable and he is just her wallet, so she shouldn't fall in love with him in return. Jake approaches the school and takes out his phone when he suddenly hears someone swearing outside. A group of guys stop Junya, ripping off her mask, telling her not to even think about leaving them. Junya casts a helpless glance at Jake, but he walks away indifferently, abandoning her. Junya tells the guys that she has no money right now and asks them to give her 3 more days, but they only get angrier. One of the extortionists reminds Junya that she said that her boyfriend would lend her money and asks where he is. The extortionists begin to mock Junya, saying that since her boyfriend did not come to her aid, he is a weakling and a scoundrel. The extortionists decide to kidnap Junya, grabbing her by the arms and surrounding her, ignoring her attempts to escape. Junya tries to escape again, but the extortionists grab her and gag her before she can scream. Junya looks towards the only witness, pleading with her eyes for help, but he runs away. As her captors drag her into the car, Junya thinks about Jake, saying to herself that she doesn't blame him for leaving her. According to Junya, it is all her fault, and if she had not been so selfish, she would not have found herself in this situation. The kidnappers close the car door and prepare to leave. Suddenly, someone breaks through the car window with their hand, hitting the driver hard on the cheek. Junya's savior turns out to be Jake, who opens the car and orders the kidnappers to get out. Junya is overjoyed at her rescue, and her level of infatuation increases by 40%. The hooligans jump out of the car and, shouting that Jake is apparently tired of living, rush at him with their fists. Jake takes out thick wads of money and hits each of the hooligans on the head, knocking them to the ground. The bullies try to get up as Jake stands in front of them with a bag full of money. Jake tells them to take their money and get out, giving them a dirty look. The kidnappers pick up the money in the bag, counting the bills and asking Jake if he's Junya's boyfriend. Jake gives the villains a negative answer and reminds them to get lost. The criminals throw Junya out of the car, saying that Jake will have to pay for the fight he started. The minivan's door slams loudly and the car drives off, leaving Jake and Junya alone. Junya sits down on the sidewalk, saying that she is truly sorry that everything turned out this way. Jake responds indifferently that if she is truly sorry and believes she is wrong, then she better not bother him anymore. Jake walks away, and Junya thinks to herself that she doesn't deserve him and promises to atone for her guilt and all the pain she caused him during this time. Jake takes a taxi to a meeting watching another streamer and attracts the attention of the driver, who tells him that some rich guy recently sent 300 million to one streamer. Jake replies that he saw it too, continuing to point at his phone with interest. A message appears on the taxi driver's built-in screen informing him that a user nicknamed Beggar has just sent 100 million rubles to another streamer on the Medusa platform. Jake muses out loud that he should check how much money he has left, and the driver doesn't understand why the protagonist watched the broadcast and got out after just a few minutes. The driver assumes that Jake is doing this for the bonuses for visiting the platform every day, and advises him not to spend money on broadcasts, as this could lead to poverty. Suddenly, the driver notices another news item about the beggar just sending another 100 million to another streamer, after which he turns to Jake and sees him commenting out loud on his decisions. The driver twitches, barely able to stay on the road, realizing that he is transporting the man with the largest fortune in the world in his car. Jake arrives at the meeting place while the driver is confused about the fact that he was driving the same rich man. Jake is happy that he successfully spent another 300 million, thinking about how it pays to throw the bait everywhere to get a big catch. Jake walks down the street, looking at landmarks to figure out where he needs to go. After a long journey, Jake arrives in Namjong village and looks for the place where Audrey invited him to have dinner. Arriving at the right address, Jake sees Audrey greeting him. Happy that he has finally arrived, Jake is confused by the sight of Audrey's loungewear and is briefly stunned. But she quickly grabs his hand and leads him inside. Jake enters Audrey's apartment looking around with interest. Audrey smiles sweetly and asks Jake if he likes what he sees, meaning his apartment. Jake replies that everything looks great, referring however to Audrey's clothes. Audrey sits Jake down at the table, telling him that she cooked dinner herself and asks him to try it. Jake enjoys dinner while Audrey tells him that he is the first guy who has been in this apartment and eaten something she cooked. Audrey also shows Jake the lilac flower, to which he replies that it is a great honor for him. Audrey tells Jake that she decided to buy it because she found out that he really likes the smell of this flower. Jake is surprised by Audrey's behavior, thinking that he did not expect such tenderness and care from her, expecting from her the same selfishness as from Junia. Jake puts his hand to Audrey's forehead, asking if she is okay and if she has a fever. Audrey takes Jake's hand and says that because of her parents' early divorce, she grew up to be a very insecure person. Audrey shares personal experiences, saying that she grew up with the idea that people were very fickle, and only money gave her a basic sense of security. Audrey hugs Jake, saying that she never thought she would feel so comfortable with him, because he is so different from the guys who usually chase her. Audrey confesses to Jake that she is in love with him, and although she always tried to protect herself before, now she is not afraid of anything. Jake recalls that Audrey's infatuation level is 91%, meaning she is in love with him, thus explaining her kindness and tenderness. Deciding to take advantage of the opportunity, Jake lays Audrey down on the bed, hovering over her and pressing his body against hers. Audrey whispers languidly that her clothes are a little bothersome, hinting that Jake should continue, but they are both distracted by a loud scream from the street. Jake recognizes the voice of his friend Harry in this scream, and goes to the window to check what is happening. Jake sees Harry walking after his girlfriend Nana, asking her not to leave and admitting he was wrong. Nana slaps Harry hard, knocking his glasses to the ground. She starts yelling at Harry, shaming him for yelling and drawing people's attention to himself. As she leaves, she adds that now, since everyone already knows about it, he can continue to shout. Harry bends down to the ground, trying to feel for his glasses. Jake approaches his friend, asking what's going on and handing him his glasses. Harry starts to tell Jake that he and Nana were dating, but is distracted when he sees Audrey approaching Jake. Harry is very surprised to meet Audrey in her appearance. Jake brings Harry back to his story, saying that they were going to have dinner together and asks him to continue. Harry shares details, saying that they were supposed to go to the cinema with Nana, but she got angry at him for refusing to buy her an anti-wrinkle kit because Harry didn't have any money at the time. Audrey looks over Jake's shoulder at Harry and says that she heard that Nana recently got a rich boyfriend. Jake and Harry don't believe what they heard, and Harry says that Nana couldn't betray him. Audrey notes that despite the fact that they don't believe what they hear, the news from her friends usually turns out to be true. Jake offers to help Harry and asks Audrey to ask her friends if they have seen Nana's new boyfriend. Jake invites Harry to test the true nature of his ex-girlfriend. Fox, tormented by heavy thoughts, nervously smokes while lying in his bed. His girlfriend hugs him, asking him the reason for his worry, to which he replies that his life may never be the same. Fox says he was almost kicked out of the influential club, but luckily Jake helped him and he was able to stay. However, now no one is paying attention to Fox's messages, and if this continues, he will fall into the depths of hell. Suddenly, Fox's phone starts buzzing, and he decides to check what happened, but he quickly starts dialing with a shocked expression on his face. It turned out that Jake had asked in the Princely Millions chat if anyone owned a shopping mall, to which Fox replied that he had just the right one, thereby getting a chance to restore his reputation. The next day, Fox and his girlfriend are driving in the car and say that they will pick up Jake to discuss the plan and explore the area. Fox pulls up to a small outdoor cafe, saying that they have arrived and Mr. Rich should be around here somewhere. Fox's girlfriend is inspired by the idea of meeting the legendary rich man by looking for him in the crowd. They find Jake at one of the tables, calmly eating breakfast in ordinary clothes. Fox's girlfriend is surprised that Jake looks completely plain, while Fox watches him with admiration. Fox and his girlfriend greet Jake, surprised that he is having breakfast in such a cheap cafe, to which Jake says that it is very tasty and recommends this place, after which they set off, discussing the details of the plan. After some time, the plan comes to fruition, and Harry asks Nana to wait at the gate to check if she really was secretly dating another person. After some time, an older man approaches Nana and kisses her, causing Harry to fall into despair. Harry approaches Nana and her man, screaming that he can't believe Nana would betray him for some old man. The man mocks Harry, saying that he must be the poor guy Nana was talking about. Harry tells the old man to fuck off, to which he continues to mock and calls a guard to throw him out. The security guard approaches Harry asking him to leave, to which Harry tries to explain that this is his girlfriend and she is cheating on him. Nana hugs the man, calling him Walter, saying that he is her boyfriend. Harry falls into despair, telling her that he does not believe that she would betray them for the sake of a 6-month relationship, for the sake of some old man from nowhere. Nana says that Walter is a VIP client of the club and a millionaire, and she is not going to suffer by being his girlfriend. Harry can't believe his ears, looking at them dejectedly, saying that this can't be. Suddenly, Fox drives up to the group in his car, stopping not far from them. Walter says he knows Fox, calling him the owner of the mall, much to Nana's delight. Fox walks towards Walter and Nana, and she tells Walter that they probably want to say hello to him. However, Fox passes by them and gives Harry a friendly hug, asking him if he was there to check out the shopping center. Fox expresses hope that Harry will reconsider his investment because he has 2 more shopping centers to develop, and he is looking forward to working with him. Nana and Walter stare at Fox and Harry, not believing that Harry could be such a big investor. Suddenly, Fox's girlfriend appears from the crowd, and calling Harry, coquettishly accuses him of making people wait for him for so long. She quickly approaches Harry, snuggling close to him, cooing sweetly about his promise to buy him a new bag from Bali from the exclusive spring collection. Nana doesn't believe her words, saying that Harry couldn't even buy her cosmetics for several thousand, to which the girl replies that she doesn't look worthy of Harry buying her anything. Harry turns around and sees Jake in the crowd, leaning against the wall watching closely. Harry is glad to himself that Jake brought all these people who helped him in this difficult situation. Harry says he was supposed to check out the mall, but Walter stopped him by threatening and bullying him. Fox theatrically becomes enraged, telling the security guard that this is degrading the dignity of his shopping center, and asking him to call a top manager to revoke Walter's VIP status, and fine him $2 million for breach of contract. Walter, without thinking twice, throws Nana away, apologizing to Harry and saying that it was all a misunderstanding and he didn't know anything about it, asking for mercy. Harry and Fox mock Walter and Nana, telling the manager to permanently blacklist the 2 from the mall. Walter and Nana fall to their knees, begging Harry not to do this. Harry mimics Walter, saying that at his age, if he falls, he might not be able to get back up. Walter says his company is known throughout the city, and besides Fox, he has many other connections. When Walter tries to leave the shopping center, expensive sports cars pull up en masse, preventing them from leaving. The members of the Princely Millions Club get out of their cars and greet each other humorously. Nana and Walter are surprised by what is happening, not understanding what some of the richest people in the city are doing here. The rich people surround Harry, playing along with him and Fox, feigning upset that only Fox helped Harry, to which Harry tells them that the cause of the problem was this man, pointing to Walter. The crowd turns to Walter, giving him a dozen menacing looks. Walter falls into despair, realizing that it's all over for him, and thinks to himself that now he's completely screwed. Harry thanks Jake for his help, to which he replies that gratitude is unnecessary, because he is his friend and was obliged to help. Harry asks Jake where he got so many rich acquaintances, to which he tells a hastily made-up story about them all being actors running errands for Fox. Harry and Jake say goodbye, and Harry promises to bring Jake his favorite food from the cafeteria that evening. The rich people of the city stand and watch Jake in admiration, but one lady with green hair and a blue dress stands out from the crowd. Jake warmly thanks all the participants for their help and offers to treat everyone to hot and spicy food. Fox hugs Jake, offering to take him up to his bar on the 7th floor, while the crowd offers Jake to pay for them, to which he calmly agrees. The group settles down at a bar and discusses how Jake donated 100 million each to 3 streamers, thereby doubling the number of registered users. During conversations about Jake, one of the rich men turns to the green-haired woman, calling her by the name Marie, and asks why she is silent and continues to drink. The man tells Marie that her project is too expensive and technically complex, so she should listen to her father's advice. Marie puts the glass on the table, angrily saying that the word surrender is not in her vocabulary. According to her, since her friends cannot lend her money and are all afraid of her father, she will be forced to turn to Mr. Jake. Meanwhile, the rich try to invite Jake to their events, offering him their own nightclubs, yacht parties, or poker. Jake listens to their proposals without much enthusiasm, with poorly concealed boredom on his face. Jake politely declines all offers, citing that he prefers spending money to gambling. Marie hears Jake's words and approaches him, saying that if he enjoys spending money, then that's very good. Marie places her hand on Jake's chest, asking if he can invest in her. The guests scold Marie, saying that she is up to her old tricks again and asking Jake not to listen to her because her startup is a failure. Jake, however, shows interest in Marie's proposal, asking what he should spend the money on. A mysterious voice in Jake's head reads out Marie's familiar details, while she tells him that she creates industrial chips. The rich men approach Jake, again warning him that Marie's idea is just a pipe dream. Marie replies that her idea is not impossible, and they only need to solve a few technical problems to achieve a breakthrough. Marie asks Jake again what he thinks about investing in her project, thinking to herself that he will most likely refuse. Jake responds that industrial chips are a great idea because the US is ahead of China in this area, and investing in this area will help in the fight against the Americans. Marie is surprised by Jake's sudden agreement, asking if he is going to research her company to find out the likelihood of success. Jake replies that he doesn't need to do any research, so he'll just wire her $500 million. Marie checks her phone, where a notification about the money received arrives. Jake adds that even if the project fails, he will not make any claims. Marie is inspired by Jake's belief in her project, increasing her own passion for it by 20%. The guests are surprised by what happened, suspecting that Jake has fallen in love with Marie and is trying to buy her smile with these millions. Marie is left shocked by Jake's generosity, while he decides to quickly slip away from the event. Running out of the building, Jake tells himself that this is all too expensive, because he would have to spend money from his personal account, and besides, he didn't really want to treat them. The next morning, Marie tells her friend what happened, saying she still can't believe it. Marie's friend turns out to be Astrid, who congratulates Marie on solving the biggest financial problem of her business career. Maria recalls how her father forbade her to run a business without even listening to her, threatening to block her card. She also remembers how all her relatives refused to help her because of her father's order. Filled with determination, Marie tells herself that she must succeed, and Astrid tells her that she believes in her. Marie tells Astrid that she talks about herself too much and asks her how her high school reunion went. Astrid replies that the meeting was supposed to proceed as usual, but she was surprised by one of her classmates who demonstrated a knowledge of art that rivaled her master's. Marie and Astrid joke about their interest in the unexpected men who have appeared in their lives. The conversation between the two friends is interrupted by Astrid's mother, who enters the room and tells her that it is time to go. Astrid's expression changes, instantly darkening and letting out a sad sigh. Astrid's mother reminds her that Mr. Mark represents his family, who are the future shareholders of this museum, so she needs to get closer to him. Astrid listens sadly to her mother's instructions, telling her that she understands everything. That same morning, Jake comes home to his dorm and hears the call of his friend Wu. When Jake asks what happened, Wu replies that he has caught a cold and asks him to cover for him for a day. Jake agrees without any problem, asking where his uniform is and opening his closet. Jake puts on his uniform and remembers that Wu works as a security guard on the night shift at the museum. Jake leaves, jokingly asking Wu not to go far. Arriving at the museum a few hours later, Jake notes that there are relatively few visitors today and decides to spend some money on streamers. Suddenly, an expensive car pulls up to the museum, and a rich man gets out, accompanied by his assistant. The museum secretary greets Mr. Mark, saying that Astrid's family is already waiting for him upstairs. The group passes by Jake, who doesn't notice them, sitting on his phone and watching streamers. Mark greets Jake rudely and loudly, startling the secretary with his suddenness. Mark throws a tantrum, asking if they really hired a blind man to work at the museum, adding that Jake didn't even stand up to greet him. Jake apologizes to Mark and stands up to greet him, while the secretary explains that Jake is only a temporary worker and a college student. The assistant mocks Jake, saying that judging by his face, he has no future except working as a security guard, and Mark adds that his apologies seem insincere. Jake says you shouldn't just look at a person's appearance before judging them. Mark loses his temper again, telling Jake that he is a loser and therefore cannot say such things to him, demanding from the secretary that Jake should not be here tomorrow. The secretary says that, unfortunately, they are already short-staffed. Mark rudely interrupts him, telling him to remove Jake immediately. Mark goes upstairs with his secretary and his assistant, while Jake remembers that this museum most likely belongs to Astrid's family. Astrid's entire family welcomes Mark's delegation, saying that they have been looking forward to seeing him. Mark and Astrid's father shake hands, and the father thanks Mark for wanting to contribute to preserving history. The father of the family asks Astrid to show Mark the museum, to which she agrees without much enthusiasm. As Astrid passes her father, he whispers to her that Mr. Mark's investment is very important, and he is counting on her. Astrid calmly approaches Mark, asking him to follow her, adding that she will show him the treasures of this museum. Astrid and Mark approach the painting, and she tells him that it is the only surviving painting with the calligraphy of the god of poetry. Inspired by what she saw, Astrid says that if you look closely at the painting, you can even feel the emotions of the poet who wrote this poem in the brushstrokes. Not really listening to Astrid's story, Mark frivolously puts his hand on her shoulder. Mark apologizes to Astrid, saying that she is so beautiful that he couldn't resist, to which she yells that Mark obviously has no interest in these artifacts. Mark replies that he spends money on whatever he wants, and he doesn't need any interest for that. Astrid says that if Mark had even a little understanding of this, he would have known that these artifacts were not worth the money, and she wonders why her father even agreed to his investment. Mark tells Astrid's father that he is not thrilled with the museum, but will buy it for $600 million, but on the condition that Astrid marries him. Astrid's family, shocked, tells Mark that such a condition is excessive. Astrid angrily declares to Mark that she will never marry him. Astrid asks her parents to send Mark away, but the sum of $600 million is a weighty argument for them. Astrid's father says that after 2 years of losses in a row, her museum is on the verge of bankruptcy, and Mr. Mark is not here to invest in the museum, but to buy it. Astrid can't believe what's happening, while Mark says that he is their last hope, assuring that Astrid will have a better life if she marries him. Astrid tries to reason with her family, but her father and mother say that they didn't want this. But this is the only way to avoid going broke. Astrid's parents tell her that in this case, most of the artifacts will be bought by dealers and collectors at low prices, or will end up on the black market. Astrid remembers how her father showed her various artifacts during her childhood, admiring her talent and passion for them. Astrid remembers how, even as a child, she disliked rich people who did not value these artifacts, and looked at them only as a way to show off. Astrid has always misunderstood other people's desire for a luxurious life, believing that there are many things in this world that cannot be bought with money. However, seeing how her parents sell her in the museum with priceless artifacts for $600 million, she realizes that her ideas about life are naive fantasies. Mark says that Astrid shouldn't worry because he will treat her very well after the wedding, and if she gives him a son, he will even buy her another museum. Realizing the hopelessness of the situation, Astrid says that she understands everything. The desperate parents thank Astrid, saying she has grown so much during this time, and offer to sign the contract right now. According to the secretary, this contract comes into force from the moment it is signed by both parties and cannot be changed, to which Astrid's father replies that she will be very happy to marry Mr. Mark. Astrid's parents hand her a contract and a pen, asking her to sign it. Astrid, completely desperate, takes a pen and begins to sign it, starting to cry. Suddenly Jake enters the room, saying that he heard that someone is buying the museum. Astrid doesn't understand why Jake is in the museum, especially in a security guard's suit. Mark yells at Jake again, telling someone to take this idiot out of here and throw him out on the street. Jake approaches Mark, who tries to punch him, but receives a hard punch to the face that sends him flying. Mark yells at Jake, threatening to drag him through the courts and send him to jail. Astrid is surprised by Jake's appearance, asking him what he is doing there. Jake walks up to Astrid, wiping a tear from her face, causing her to blush in embarrassment. Astrid's parents ask her if she knows this man. Astrid tells them that he is her classmate, to which her father remarks that a boy of that age would be better off focusing on his studies rather than working as a security guard. Jake takes the contract to buy the museum and boldly tears it apart. Astrid and Mark's parents are upset by what happened, and their father grabs the scraps from the floor, wondering what Jake did. Jake tells Astrid's father that he is offering him $1 billion for the museum. Mark laughs at Jake, saying that if he actually buys the museum, he'll eat a lot of crap, to which Jake replies that he doesn't believe that anymore after the last person he lost a bet with. While Jake and Mark argue, Astrid's parents ask her if her classmate is rich. Mark calls one of his friends, telling him that he needs to get rid of one person, asking him to bring several people here. Astrid's father tells Jake that he obviously came here for Astrid, so if he can guarantee a down payment of half the amount, then both the museum and Astrid will belong to him. Astrid's father adds that if Jake can't find that much money, the plan will remain the same, and everything will belong to Mr. Mark. The secretary approaches Jake, handing him a new contract, telling him that its contents are identical to the previous one, except for the price and title. Jake reads the contract, realizing that all it amounts to, from the legalese, is an offer to buy Astrid, while Mark tells the protagonist that he can't just say he doesn't have the money and walk away. Jake reflects on how terrible this all looks, since he will receive her as a thing. Jake looks at the canvas, absorbed by the poem written on it. He approaches him, saying that these artifacts have incredible power. Jake turns to the family, saying he wants to change the terms of the contract. He adds that he wants to spend this $1 billion only on purchasing the museum, and the artifacts will not be included in its price. In Jake's view, this painting and calligraphy are priceless and cannot be measured in money. Jake says that Astrid respects and truly loves these artifacts, so the right to use the museum and dispose of the artifacts passes to her. The protagonist turns to Astrid, telling her that if she needs money, she can call him. Jake pulls out his card, successfully paying the full $1 billion price. Mark and Astrid's family don't believe Jake was able to pay the full price in one installment. Astrid approaches Jake and asks him why he is doing this. Jake turns to her and replies that he told her that he would buy back all the artifacts that belong to the people of China. Mark says that the entire collection of this museum is worth more than $500 million, and if Jake really wants to return all the world's artifacts, then he needs to attend an auction in Japan. According to Mark, this auction will feature artifacts each worth over $1 billion. Jake confidently tells Mark that he will definitely attend this auction. Mark and his assistant run away, realizing that there is nothing more to be gained here. Mark leaves the museum, meeting the people he called for the fight, telling them that everything is cancelled and they can get lost. Mark picks up the phone, taking a call from his mysterious boss, saying that unfortunately the deal fell through due to some jerk from China. However, according to Mark, he managed to draw his attention to the auction, so he will be able to personally apologize to his boss there. Mark's boss chuckles, saying that all the artifacts belonging to him will not be taken away by others. Mark calls his boss Mr. Flynn and says that he will definitely be there to observe this. Astrid's family warmly thanks Jake for saving them from such a situation, inviting him to have dinner with them. Jake, however, politely declines, saying that he has the night shift today and is not hungry. Astrid's level of infatuation increases, and she smiles sweetly as she watches him go. Astrid catches up with Jake, asking him if he's really going to Japan next month. Having received an affirmative answer, she asks him to take her with him on this journey. The next morning, Jake leaves the room, remembering how he talked to Astrid half the night. He also remembers that after long conversations, she accidentally fell asleep. But he had to stay on duty until the morning, and because of this, he will have to sit sleepy today. Audrey and Junia find Jake, asking him how he is feeling and if he slept last night. Audrey hugs Jake, telling him that lack of sleep is not good and that he can skip university to come to her and rest. Junia, meanwhile, says that classes are very important and she will sit next to him during the lecture. She adds that he can lie down on her lap so that he can listen and rest at the same time. Jake frowns, reminding Junia that he asked her to stop clinging to him. Junia, however, does not calm down and says that she cannot help herself, confessing that she is very much in love with him. She says she doesn't care whether he is rich or not, and she just wants them to start over. Junia hands Jake a paper crane as a sign of recognition, saying that she will cherish his feelings and make up for her past mistakes. The crowd shouts at Jake that such a direct confession is worth a lot, and he should forgive her. Jake sees that Junia's infatuation level is at 86%, which indicates that she is not in love with him. Jake says to himself that he sees right through Junia, and that she is not the kind of person who can be touched by someone else's kindness towards them. Jake leaves Junia and Audrey, saying to himself that the only reason he likes Junia is because she is lonely. Junia and Audrey glare at each other as the teacher enters the room, telling everyone to take their seats. After class, Audrey and Junia accompany Jake, and Audrey invites him to come to her apartment and relax. Junia says that Jake is not Audrey's boyfriend, adding that it is not nice to bring a guy to your apartment to sleep there. Audrey responds that Junia doesn't understand anything about her relationship with Jake, explaining that he is single and doesn't have a girlfriend, and Junia is just his ex. Junia and Audrey begin to argue with each other, throwing Chinese proverbs at each other and making a lot of noise. Passers-by begin to wonder what is going on between Audrey and Junia. Jake asks the girls not to drag him into this fight, as he does not want to become famous throughout the university because of this. Suddenly, a Ferrari LF with Chai Chai at the wheel drives into the university courtyard. Passing Audrey and Junia, she picks up Jake and quickly drives away. Jake rests his head on Chai Chai's knee as you ask him if he's hurt. Jake is about to get up, but Chai Chai suggests that he not bother and lie down for a bit. Jake thanks Chai Chai for her help, to which she replies that he can consider it thanks for all the donations and asks to leave another signature on her thigh. Junia is confused about who this girl was who took Jake away in front of everyone. Onlookers are amazed at what they saw, saying that the car was going so fast that they didn't have time to see the girl behind the wheel, but they note that the car certainly cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Junia is furious, angry that as soon as Jake became rich, he started getting a bunch of rivals trying to get money from him. Audrey points out that Junia previously ignored Jake and now can't get him, adding that she has no chance. Junia tells Audrey not to be so self-confident, because the girl who took Jake is clearly richer than both of them. Audrey replies that, unlike the other girls, she has made much more progress with Jake, so she has nothing to worry about. Junia loses her temper, angrily asking Audrey what tricks she used, to which Audrey replies that she will not tell her. Audrey leaves to do her business, and Junia says to herself that she doesn't believe her and thinks that Audrey is just bluffing. However, in Junia's opinion, Jake is so simple that he will not be able to hold out for long under such a siege. Junia decides that she knows exactly what Jake likes, which means she will definitely get him back. A mysterious voice in his head tells Jake that Junia's infatuation level has increased by 4%, causing 10% of the amount spent on her to be credited to his account. Jake's stats increase again and he chooses a new skill that allows him to swim masterfully. During the trip, someone watches Jake closely through binoculars from afar. The observer turns out to be the student council president, who is preparing for a meeting. Audrey and Junia's fight made the university news, once again putting Jake's troubled relationship on public display. The student council president is furious that he's caught sight of Jake and his antics again. The president says that one student has just called the university's reputation into question by his behavior. The president turns to the head of the literature department, asking which department these students are from, to which he replies that they are his students, calling them by name. The president tells the head of the literature department that he has high hopes for him, to which he replies that he will definitely punish Jake. The president replies that there is no need to do so if Jake admits and atones for his mistakes. The next day, Jake is sent to clean the pool, telling him that this punishment will last until the end of the semester. Jake, however, takes it in stride, saying that his girlfriend was indeed speeding on campus. Jake also notes that he thinks this punishment is so bad because it gave him the opportunity to admire girls in the pool. The girls in the pool compliment one of the athletes named Eva, saying that she has a great figure. Ava's friend tells her that her classmate named Tyler is staring at her and following her everywhere, to which she just brushes it off, saying that she is not interested in him. When asked what kind of guys she likes, Ava calmly answers that she will like the one who can swim faster than her. Some girls notice Jake and start whispering about his recent popularity. Ava, however, is not interested in it, and she decides to take another swim. Suddenly, Ava gets a cramp in her foot and starts to drown. Ava tries to call for help by extending her hand out of the water, but her friends don't understand what she wants to say. Unable to swim on her own, Eva begins to think with horror that she is about to drown. Jake spots Eva, quickly realizing that she is in great danger. Without thinking twice, he runs up to the pool, making a quick and confident jump into the water. Using his newly acquired swimming skills, Jake quickly swims to Eva's aid. Having reached her, he helps her to the surface, holding her head above the water so that the girl does not choke. Eva starts to resist, screaming for Jake to let her go, to which Jake replies that she should calm down and just breathe. Jake swims to the edge of the pool, holding Eva with one hand, asking her to stay still and trust him. Eva marvels at how fast Jake swims even though he's holding her, noting that she's never been this close to a guy before. Jake pulls Eva out of the water, and she coughs thoroughly, slowly coming to her senses. Jake wrings out his t-shirt, telling Eva to be more careful next time. The girlfriends surround Eva, asking about her condition and saying that she really scared them. The students marvel at Jake's speed, saying he has set a new record, while one of them filmed the whole thing and plans to post his feat online. Eva's friend tells her that Jake seems like a pretty good person since he saved her life. Suddenly, her friend notices that Eva is in the clouds, and a strong blush has appeared on her face. News that Jake has proven himself a hero by driving the student council president crazy. Harboring a grudge against the main character, the president promises himself to destroy him. A few days later, there is a student ball at the university, and Junia and Audrey come to it. Audrey tells Junia with a smile on her face that she is dressed up very nicely for tonight, but Jake still won't pay attention to her. Junia thanks Audrey for the caustic compliment, saying that after tonight, everything will change. Watching her go, Audrey suspects that Junia is up to something. Junia says to herself that she sees right through Audrey and her cheap tricks that make her seem like a smart and gentle girl. But in Junia's opinion, men only obey their instincts. Junia notices Eva and notes that she needs to clear one more obstacle first. Eva recalls the moments of her rescue, starting to blush again and taking a sip from her glass to calm down a little. Junia approaches Eva, believing she is another rival who wants to hit on Jake and greets him grimly. Junia introduces herself as Jake's girlfriend and asks Eva if she knows her. According to Junia, Jake is very sympathetic and kind and always helps people. Junia continues her story by saying that Jake chased her for 3 years before they started dating and having a good time together. Junia adds that if Eva wants to thank Jake, it is not necessary, since they have a date this evening. Eva, terribly frightened by Junia's assertive approach, runs away from the ball. Junia rejoices at the elimination of a potential rival, declaring that no one has a chance against her. Meanwhile, Jake sits quietly in his room while his friend urges him to hurry up, to which Jake complains that his group was forced to clean. Jake is told that he must have somehow offended the student council president, which is why he's getting into all this trouble. According to Jake's friend, the president always used his official position to deal with people he didn't like. Jake receives a message from the class president, who tells him that the student council president wants to personally present him with an award, raising Jake's suspicions. While Jake is on his way to the ball, Tyler is watching him, angry at him for stealing Eva from him. An enraged Tyler is tormented by thoughts of revenge and raises a brick over Jake's head. However, Jake, sensing his approach, turns and grabs Tyler. With a powerful movement, Jake throws Tyler to the ground, causing him to hit his cheek on the asphalt. Jake doesn't understand Tyler's actions, asking him why he attacked him. Tyler explains himself by calling Eve a bitch who doesn't even look at him, despite all his efforts, and regrets not having taken her by force at the time. Jake hits Tyler in the face with his boot, making him shut up. After dragging the unconscious Tyler to the trash heap, Jake decides to head to the ball. Finally arriving at the ball, Jake meets Audrey, who invites him to dance with her. Jake agrees, picking Audrey up in his arms and starting to twirl her around in a dance. Audrey is pleasantly surprised by how smoothly and gracefully Jake moves. Jake and Audrey receive enthusiastic reviews from the crowd as they continue to gracefully twirl in their dance. After the dance, other girls approach Jake, expressing a desire to dance, but Audrey tries to turn them down. However, the girl's pressure does not stop, and very quickly he is surrounded by potential partners, causing Audrey's anger. The other guys get mad because no one wants to dance with them and start gossiping behind Jake's back about how he doesn't deserve this kind of treatment and awards from the student council president.